We did not give you permission. You don't have a warrant.
Yes, we do have a warrant.
For what?
Her arrest.
For what?
Her arrest.
For what?
Her arrest.
For
We'll fill you in.
The 19th of September, 2025, Vero Beach, Florida. Officers arrive with an arrest warrant for cyberstalking. 5 legal issues. The warrant's authority at the residence, the conflict of interest built into the investigation, the contested elements of the cyberstalking charge, the false report standard, and what officers are required to tell you at the moment of arrest. The family's repeated assertion that officers needed permission to enter their property reflects a misunderstanding of how arrest warrants operate. Under Payton v. New York, 1980, a valid arrest warrant authorizes officers to enter the subject's residence when they have reason to believe the subject is present inside. Occupant permission is not required. The warrant signed by Judge Brown provided the legal authority. The family's objections, while understandable, did not create a legal barrier to the arrest.
Now you guys know you don't need to be around the house. And don't come in. Do not come in. Do not come in. Stay.
Sure do. We just need to talk to her.
I don't care. I don't trust y'all. Get out. Out.
That's not how this works.
Get out of here. You do not have permission to be on this property. Oh my God. It's the cops are here.
We just need to talk to Mariah. What is the problem?
You do not have permission to be on our property. Get out. Get out.
Excuse me, I have no clue on what's going on. Why are you in my house?
Mariah, just put some clothes on. We just want to talk to you real quick. I don't know why you guys are overreacting.
I'm not. I'm simply.
No, not you. Your sister. She's all.
Yeah, Willa, why do you do this?
Considering what we've been going through lately, I don't trust you guys.
You still
Please, they don't need to be in the garage. They don't need to be in the
You
garage.
can stay out here and calmly talk.
I don't want to talk to them. No, I don't want to talk to them.
Don't shut my garage door.
I don't want to talk to them. And they shouldn't be on our property.
I'm sorry.
I'm just gonna come outside right now.
It's not gonna go well.
No.
Normal person.
Please don't be in our garage. Please. You do not have permission to be inside our premises. Like, you don't have permission and you're still standing inside of a garage. Please get out.
Okay, we're here to talk to Mariah.
Okay,
So.
well, you don't need to talk to her inside the garage. You can go to our front door.
Okay, Willa.
Which is
Okay.
right over there. Please get out so I can close the garage.
That's not happening.
Why?
So.
You don't have permission to be in our garage.
Okay.
Why? You do not have permission to be in our garage. Please get out of our garage. You do not have permission to be in our garage. You have a warrant to be in our garage? Yes or no?
Willa, we're not here to speak to you.
I don't care. You don't have permission to be in our garage.
If you just want to talk, there's no reason to show up this deep. You're not going to intimidate me
Three
to
cars.
drop the situation that's been going on.
This is, oh yeah,
With
this
the
is
officers
crazy.
talking to me.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
we're
make sure your
closing the
phone's
garage.
in.
You
Bring
wanna come
my phone
around
out.
I'm filming the whole
Okay.
thing.
So. We're here to discuss whatever's going on with.
Why are you stepping so close to me?
Okay, we're done playing this game. Put your hands behind your back.
Oh my God.
I didn't do anything! Don't resist
Stop,
me.
stop, stop.
I didn't do anything! Willa, help! I didn't do anything!
What is she being arrested for? What is she
Willa,
being arrested for?
go get my phone and call Ryan now!
What is she being arrested for? Why are you arresting her?
What are you doing?
Why is she being arrested?
You will get the
for?
information in a second.
Tell me, what is she being arrested
We'll get
for?
the
You came on
information
my property
in a second.
illegally. We did not give you permission. You don't have a warrant.
Yes, we do have a warrant.
For what?
Her
Tell me.
arrest.
For what?
Her arrest.
For what?
Her arrest.
For
We'll
what?
fill you in.
The most legally significant issue in this footage is not the arrest itself. It is the chain of institutional actors that produced it. The alleged victim is a Vero Beach PD officer. The investigating agency is Vero Beach PD. The detective who applied for the warrant is Vero Beach PD. The officers making the arrest are Vero Beach PD, under Mathews v. Eldridge, 1976. Due process requires consideration of the risk of erroneous deprivation here. A citizen who accused a police officer of misconduct was investigated, prosecuted through warrant, and arrested entirely by the department of the officer she was accusing. A judge's signature is an important check. It is not a complete cure for institutional self-interest. Florida Statute Section 784.048 defines cyberstalking as a course of electronic communication directed at a specific person, causing substantial emotional distress and serving no legitimate purpose. That final element, no legitimate purpose, is where this case becomes legally contested. Under Packingham v. North Carolina, 2017, the Supreme Court affirmed that social media is a constitutionally protected venue for speech. A police officer acting in an official capacity is a public official. A citizen's documentation of alleged officer misconduct, even if later found factually inaccurate, may constitute protected speech rather than criminal stalking, depending on whether it was made with knowledge of its falsity or reckless disregard for the truth. The false report charge under Florida Statute Section 837.05 requires proof that the subject knowingly gave false information, not merely inaccurate information. The distinction matters. If the subject genuinely believed she was a victim of officer misconduct, even if that belief was objectively unfounded, the prosecution must prove she knew her reports were false at the time she made them. That is an intense standard that requires evidence of actual knowledge of falsity. A mistaken belief, however unreasonable, does not satisfy it. Under Florida Statute Section 901.17, officers are required to inform an arrested person of the authority and cause of their arrest, unless specific exigent circumstances apply. The repeated delays in answering the family's direct question, "What is she being arrested for?" were procedurally incomplete. No exigent circumstances justified the delay. A prompt statement of the charges would have been both legally required and practically useful in reducing the encounter's escalation. No Miranda advisement is visible on camera at any point following the arrest. Under Miranda v. Arizona, 1966, advisement is required before custodial interrogation. The extended in-car conversation in which the subject made detailed statements about the underlying facts, her prior complaints, and her account of the officer's conduct occurred after she was in custody. If those statements were made in response to officer questions, they are subject to suppression without a prior Miranda advisement. The surveillance footage and witness accounts likely provide independent evidence, but the in-car statements represent a suppression risk that a competent defense attorney will raise immediately. The subject's heat complaint and anxiety disorder disclosure in the patrol car trigger 14th Amendment obligations under Kingsley v. Hendrickson, 2015. Pretrial detainees are protected by the Due Process Clause's objective reasonableness standard. The welfare obligation for a person in custody in Florida's heat does not pause because the logistics are inconvenient. Officers' explanation that the vehicle could not be run was a factual statement. It was not a discharge of their obligation to ensure her basic welfare, which required a faster practical resolution.
You need to tell me what you are doing.
Just walk. You have a warrant.
For what? Ma'am, you need to tell me for what? I've been being stalked by one of your officers.
Okay. Okay, relax.
Willa, get my phone and call Ryan.
Mariah, do you have anything on you?
No.
Okay.
What you're doing is illegal.
Okay, I need to search you. So, you're positive you have nothing on you?
Dude, I just have my one day off. I'm cleaning my house. No, ma'am.
Okay.
This is not okay behavior at all.
Okay.
Willa, get my phone.
Have a seat.
No, you need to tell me what you're doing. You're not telling
Have
me.
a seat.
Have a seat.
I have not committed a crime or done anything to you.
You have a warrant, so have a
For what,
seat.
ma'am? For what,
I'll
ma'am?
explain everything to you.
No,
Get in the car.
there's not a possible way for me to have a warrant.
Get in the car.
You need to tell me what you're doing.
Put your feet in the car.
There is nothing I can have a warrant for. Oh, you're all gonna be so screwed with the feds.
Better calm down for a second, then tell her the charges and what's going on. And then we'll be on our way. I don't know nothing about it, so.
Yeah, I don't know anything.
Yeah, none of us were involved, so.
All we have is a warrant, so.
Yeah, that's it.
I will verify with sister that she obviously is going to
Take care of the
take
child.
care of the child.
Okay.
Let me just try to
let her know the bond amount too.
Let me just unlock the...
She has two $5,000 bonds, so she could bond out today.
Hey,
You have no possible legal warrant.
Mariah,
You have no possible legal warrant.
listen, think about your child right now.
I
okay?
am. What you're
Okay.
doing is not okay.
So listen, is your sister going to be able to watch your son?
You need to tell me what's going on.
We're going to talk to you. I'm asking about your son right now.
No, actually, she's very not capable. I'm taking care of both of them.
Okay, so who do we need to call?
You need to tell me what's going on.
We're
Because-
going to, Mariah, but we're asking about
Do you
your
understand
son.
I haven't done anything illegal for there
Okay.
to be a warrant out for my arrest.
Okay, he has a piece of paper and he's standing in front of me right now. Would you be willing to talk to her attorney?
I don't have to talk to her attorney. All
He
I was
says he
gonna-
doesn't have to.
I could. She could be on the phone, or he, whoever it is, while I talk to you. I don't care.
Okay,
I'm going to school and working to be a paralegal.
okay.
This isn't okay.
Okay.
I have had an issue with one of your officers who's hacked my phone and is sexually harassing me, extorting me.
Well, a judge obviously found probable cause for an
For what?
arrest. So
For what?
we're going to explain it to you.
You
I'm
can't, you
asking.
can't detain someone for something they have no idea about because they haven't committed a crime.
We're way past that. You have a warrant.
You, ma'am,
So again,
I know
I'm
how
asking.
warrants work because I have a DUI
Okay.
that I've been on probation for a long time now. I've not committed a crime.
Okay.
So you just detaining me, not telling me what it's for, and just saying it's a warrant when I haven't committed a crime
Okay.
is not okay.
Mariah, who
I know
needs to
how
watch your son?
me?
Okay, well that's not going to happen. So
There
what
isn't-
is?
Oh, ma'am, this
what's
is
our
an
next
illegal
option?
warrant.
You're gonna have to explain that to the judge then.
I don't think a judge signed off on this. There is something very fishy going on. I've been dealing with extortion from a police officer.
Okay.
Are you not understanding that? Your officer could have very much done something illegal, just like he's been doing in my phone, with all the pictures of me on my phone and my child in a device.
Okay.
So whatever he's done is this. I have not committed one crime.
Okay.
Not a single day since I got
Mariah,
DUI.
who is going to be responsible for?
Until I'm going to immediately be home, she will have to be.
Okay, so you're giving your sister permission to take care of him then.
He says he...
This is an arrest warrant. Charged with cyber stalking and false reports of communication of crime.
Oh my God.
All right.
They're charging her for cyber stalking. The guy who's been stalking her. Oh, this is... You are evil. You are
I don't think I'm
human
evil. I was given a warrant. We served the warrant.
She's been stalked by one of your own cops.
I know nothing about it.
Oh, you
Zero.
guys. Yeah, because all you do is uphold corruption. Oh my God.
Well, both the charges have $5,000 bonds on them. So when she's booked and
Can I have
processed,
that?
you cannot.
Can I have a copy of it?
She can get a copy of it at
Can
the
I
jail.
film that, please?
Go ahead.
I would like
Absolutely,
to see.
right here. Here's your arrest warrant.
Police Department.
Mariah, I have zero involvement in this entire case, so
Ma'am,
no,
maybe
it doesn't.
read into what you're doing and see that it's not a proper
We're here to
thing.
serve a warrant. That's it.
And okay, so what is the warrant on now?
It is
What are her charges?
for
What's your name?
Cyber stalking and false reports in the commission of a crime.
Cyber stalked.
and false reports.
I'm being cyber
Right here.
stalked. It's not false reports. This is false, and I'm going
Okay.
to fight the crap out of it because it's not. I'm being cyber stalked. The police have my whole phone and everything in it.
Okay.
Saying if I don't meet him, he's going to leak everything to everybody. Willa? They're saying I was cyber stalking him. He has been stalking me for weeks. I have beyond the reasonable amount of proof for it.
Okay.
Unbelievable documents of proof. Every person in my life knows what's going on. A lawyer, a PI. This isn't going to look good for you guys. No,
She gave
this is
her-
wrong.
She gave her sister, like, the okay to
Willa,
watch
you need
Ezra.
to call Ryan. They're wrongfully detaining me.
Alright.
They're wrongfully
Here,
detaining
let me give
me.
you this.
I didn't commit this crime. Sir, I did not do this, and this is a false crime. This man has been extorting me for a
490.
long period of time.
Okay, you can have your moment in front of the judge. I'll be
Do you understand how corrupt this is?
51
That
CJ, one female, starting mileage
people
533.
who all know what's going on that are gonna go to the news. This man has been tormenting me for weeks, turning off the notifications on my Ring camera, deleting posts on Facebook, reading every message between me and the man I talked to, so getting every nude picture off my phone. Nothing I've done is a false police report. This man has been stalking me.
You'll have to bring it up to the judge.
There isn't enough claim up to say what you're doing to me right now.
All we know is that we got told you had a warrant and we were coming here to pick you up.
Sir, I have been in the police station every single day this week talking with Detective Mastikitis. I'm the victim in this case. I filed this stuff against the officer and it's not false, it's all real.
49 Vero, will you sign a case number?
Sir, this isn't a legal warrant. What you're doing is going to come back on you and everyone in this. I'm not going to let this police officer get away legally with what he's done with me. I'm working to be a paralegal and I'm going to make sure everybody is legally held accountable for this. Because this is not a legal arrest. It is not a legal warrant because what has been told is a lie.
Okay.
A lie, a direct lie. Everything he is saying, I reported as a victim.
Hey.
I am the victim in an ongoing case.
Yeah, it is. Oh, use that case number.
I am the victim in an ongoing case
All right,
with
perfect.
this
Thank you.
officer. This isn't just.
Bye.
How can you arrest someone who has filed reports? I haven't even finished speaking with the detective who's been Oh, everybody, this is gonna go to the news. Like, you guys are gonna get in so much trouble. This isn't worth losing your job over. You need to call Detective Mastikitis with the City of Vero Beach Police. I have been talking with him. I've been talking with every detective there. I've been bringing in my phone every day. This has been part of my job. None of this
will be in
is
reference
false.
to case
None
number
of what I reported is
1769.
false. I have proof of all of it. How can you arrest me for this and do this with this? Sir, why do you not care if you wanted to be a police officer and help people and what you're doing right now is wrong? Why do you not care to listen?
I have a warrant.
Why do you think that because you're an officer, you're above the law and that your colleague is above the law?
All right, Mariah, we have a warrant signed by a judge.
The warrant is, you need to explain to me how after I just been with the police, yesterday, the day before that, every day, even this freaking morning. It doesn't make any sense. I've been ongoing in an open case. I'm the victim, not me. I'm coming in with proof. There's no way to say any of this is false claims. And I haven't cyber-stalked him. These are completely false. There's not even enough to pick me up on a warrant for this because I didn't do it. There is no... Please tell me you aren't understanding or giving a shit. I'm not a cyber-stalker. I have been working to prove what this man has been doing to me.
Like I said, you have your day in court. All I know is you have a warrant.
So I gotta go sit in jail and miss my school and my job to have to prove something I didn't do? While that man who's been torturing me gets to sit out and still be a police officer? Torturing me! Telling me he's going to leak every picture of him, threatening that if he'll stop if I meet up with him and have sex with him. How can you think I would be doing this? I'm not cyber-stalking him! I'm not trying to extort a man for sex. That's what he's doing to me! How can you just not give it? I don't even know. This was so wrong! Who is the officer who reported these crimes? Where is the detective? No one's explaining anything to me. This isn't okay. I've been directly talking with the detective
Alright, so the warrant was filed by Detective Mathews and was signed by Judge Brown. You will have your moment in court.
Actual detective went against me. Are these felonies? I didn't do.
No, they're misdemeanors.
Will there be immediate bail on it?
Yes, you have bail.
And
You have a bond.
The total.
5,000 per, so 10,000 total.
What about with the bail thingy?
What, $1,000? You pay 10%.
I really do want you to understand that when I do get out on bail, I'm going to legally, very legally, because everything I've done has been legal, prove. And you guys are all going to be implicated legally, the entire department. The whole video, everything you guys just did.
We're doing nothing but serving a warrant, so.
Police corruption! Police corruption! God damn it! What the... You monstrous pigs! Absolute demons! Piece of... What the... Got me so piece monsters! I didn't do anything. Leaving me in a hot car. You're leaving me in a hot car with no air! Thanks. You pigs. Hey, I have an anxiety disorder and you're leaving me in a car with no air on! Let me add this to the list of constitutional rights you're violating! I'm going to add you to the lawsuit! I will make sure of it, officer! You will be held accountable for your abusive police actions! You will be held accountable! Okay. You pig! Monster! Let me out of the hot car before I pass out! If I faint from heat, you will have another thing added to the list! You are leaving me in a off-heated car in Florida.
What?
I promise you it will be added onto the list of the abusive police officer behavior.
We can't
Sir?
have our vehicles on in here. What do you want?
Let me out of the car!
I can't. They have to let you out.
You will be held
So-
accountable. You will be legally held accountable. I promise you will be legally held accountable. I'm not a criminal. I'm being wrongly accused of something and you are going to be held legally accountable for every part of this. City of Vero Beach Police are going to be sued. Every dollar I have to my name will go to holding every one of you abusive police officers accountable for your actions today and in the last few weeks.
What's up, dude? What do you got? Warrant.
How we doing?
Okay.
Alright, there?
We're all getting sued.
What do we got?
Warrant.
The lead officer receives a B+. Warrant service was patient, lawful, and professionally executed across a 2-minute encounter with sustained family resistance. The repeated gentle attempts to de-escalate asking about childcare, explaining the bond reflect genuine professional care. 2 procedural gaps prevent a higher grade. The delay in communicating charges under Section 901.17 and the absence of Miranda advisement before the extended in-car conversation that produced substantial statements. Vero Beach PD receives a C. The individual officers executed a lawful warrant professionally. The institutional grade reflects the structural conflict of interest that a judge's signature alone does not resolve. A department that investigates, seeks a warrant for, and arrests a person who is accusing one of its own officers of misconduct has a self-interest in the outcome that demands independent oversight. The absence of any visible independent review of this investigation is the institutional failure this grade reflects. Mariah receives a C+. Her legal arguments were largely sound. The conflict of interest concern is real. The First Amendment dimensions of posting about officer misconduct are real, and the knowingly false standard she would need to overcome is demanding. Her conduct at the scene, verbal resistance, sustained agitation, and unguarded in-car statements maximized her legal exposure and generated additional evidence. She was legally informed enough to identify the right arguments. She was not disciplined enough to preserve them by staying silent. 3 lessons. First, a valid arrest warrant overrides a property owner's objection to police presence. The consent framework that governs warrantless encounters does not apply when officers have a judicially signed warrant for a specific person believed to be inside. Telling officers they do not have permission to be on your property when they hold an arrest warrant for someone inside is legally incorrect, and it escalates an encounter that cooperation would resolve faster. Second, the right to criticize a police officer on social media is constitutionally protected. The line between protected criticism and criminal cyberstalking runs through the no legitimate purpose element and the intent standards governing false report charges. Documenting what you believe to be officer misconduct, even aggressively, even publicly, is not automatically criminal. But the line between that and a knowing false campaign to damage someone's reputation is where the legal analysis gets complicated. Third, if you are arrested, invoking your right to silence and requesting an attorney immediately are your most legally valuable acts. The in-car monologue in this footage, detailed, extensive, and unguarded, provided a roadmap of the subject's defense theory, her prior conduct, and her counter-narrative. All of it was recorded. None of it was protected. The right to remain silent exists precisely for this situation. Let us know if there is an interaction or legal topic that you would like us to discuss in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to check out our second channel, Street Bodycam, for even more police interaction and courtroom content.